It's one thing to cheat and disrupt peace in a beloved video game, but it's another thing to break the law and ruin one's life in order to get back at someone you don't like. Hello, I'm 𝘲𝘶𝘬𝘮, and I'll be using my real voice today since I can't be bothered to write captions for my shitty vocoder. I'm not going to become a drama channel, but this is something pretty serious that can actually get people into lots of trouble, and I believe it warrants talking about. Now, if you're familiar with the TFTuber Wamo, they're a growing YouTube channel that discusses topics within the community over gameplay footage. While this seems fairly harmless, keep in mind a lot of what he does is on the spot and is plagued with misinformation. He released a video 3 days ago about a supposed predator within the community, and that just so happened to be a fellow Viber, Twilight. I'll be going over the claims and looking into the evidence provided from a more technical standpoint, as well as attempting to explain some basic psychology. The first thing of interest I want to talk about is a set of comments that can be found in his video, TF2 Bots Want Money, where his followers can be seen talking about organizing a crowdfund in order to hire a detective. Wamo replies with admitting to have personal info on the botters, which seemed unlikely, but nonetheless, if he had any idea about the law, he would not have mentioned having this information.
Call the cops, they're cheating in a video game! Oh, also dox them for us so we can harass them. So let's report people for quite literally nothing, but then go ahead and break the law?
The day after the posts were made, Wamo uploaded his video on Twilight. A lot of the video is him repeating himself, but we'll be going over the accusations and his own reactions and opinions to the situation at hand. The first screenshot we're provided is between Wamo and someone named 42, which by the way is Wamo's only source of information throughout this scene. The screenshot shows 42 making some oddly worded remarks such as, "So I, with vengeance, come rushing to Twilight." He also states that in July of 2019, Twy perfected a formula to down a server, and although he was DDoSing servers at this exact time, this date was most likely selected as it's the date Twy uploaded a clip of Swipes in distress after not being able to stream without being DDoSed. Twy was DDoSing Swipes for roughly the entirety of 2019 before his original main account was manually banned by Steam in November of 2019. Added to the fact that to get the perfect formula to down a server, all you do is type status into the TF2 console, and the server's IP is right there for you to copy and paste into your booter. Another thing of interest was 42 claiming to have paid for the booter in cash since Twy was broke at the time. In July of 2019, a quick glance will show that his inventory was well over $1,000 in value, and as he wasn't unemployed, the claim that he was broke is likely one of the many parts of the story that are fabricated to make him look bad. A final note on this screenshot is one of the last messages where he oddly remarks, "We became friends, sort of." This will be important later. Next, we'll have a look at a rather short part of the video. In the voiceover, Wamo says he changed his legal name to Sparkles, but in the screenshot shown at the same time, Twy can be seen saying that he changed his legal name to Twilight.
They even said they changed their legal name to Sparkles.
Also take note of Twy's Discord name and syntax, as those will be important later on. The first red flag is that Sophie is said to have been 14 at the time of the incident, though the exact time is never specified. Using the information we already have, we could guess that it took place between July of 2019 when 42 met Twy, and now, though that ignores the possibility of Sophie coming into contact with 42 after a long time of repressing the traumatic events. We're next presented with the first screenshot between Sophie and Twy, and this is where the entire story starts to fall apart. If you remember the screenshots of Twy before, you'd have noticed his name is a jumbled mess. This is because he never uses his Twy alias over Discord, as he's always been actively aware that people want to impersonate him. Also, compare the syntax in this screenshot to the one before. Twy is German and has a distinct way of arranging his words. His English is sometimes out of place, and he does not use prepositions to try and force a shy stutter. His sentences are always direct and sometimes require some extra thinking to understand what they mean. Using excessive adjectives, stock Discord emojis as opposed to his Twilight ones. The indirectness and the voice in his writing are either out of character for Twy or completely uncharacteristic of him. Following that, we have two screenshots of separate instances where Twy is shown threatening to commit suicide if Sophie cuts contact with him. I don't mean this as a diss, but from my experience talking with Twy for over a year, I can confidently say that the only one he could love is Twilight Sparkle herself. He's extremely uninterested in forming romantic relationships and prefers to enjoy his life among his friends. If he was truly in a depressive state like the claims suggest, it would have been visible through the many interactions I and many others have had with him throughout the year. Also, I want you to take note of the language in the Discord screenshots. The one on the left is in English, and the one on the right is in Croatian. I thought it was interesting enough to point this out. Speaking of Discord, we'll also be focusing our attention to the format of the messages. Around September of this year, Discord released an update that removed the white line separating users in the chat. This dates the screenshots to be taken within the last few months. This is the last piece of evidence shown in Wamo's video. We'll move to analyzing 𝘤𝘲𝘶𝘦𝘶𝘦's video, as well as the Google Doc linked in Wamo's video.
Wamo doxed him. His face is on the front of his thumbnail.
The first screenshot of 𝘤𝘰𝘮𝘦𝘶𝘦 video shows the real Twy in a slightly broken English, and sporting a gorilla emoji, which is something he does when someone is acting either defensive or stubborn.
There's the gorilla emoji he uses when people are being fucking retarded.
Immediately following that, he does the unthinkable and says it's impossible to prove 100% that the screenshots are real.
It is impossible to prove 100% that these screenshots are real.
There you go, you just invalidated your entire video in one sentence.
While we're being told to believe everything because we should believe victims, we are shown another screenshot of Twy in his broken English.
However, I do believe that it is important to believe victims. Often there is no proof, and you just have to take their word for it. So for this video...
That is the most dangerous mindset I have ever heard. Just anyone can just claim they're a victim of something and people would believe it, and whoever they accuse is just... their life is ruined. Where's the sense in that? That makes zero sense. Just believe someone because they are claiming to be a victim. That's so dangerous.
I continue to emphasize this because it's very clear that someone else is using Twy's alias to make screenshots in order to frame him as a pedophile. Again, we're told Sophie is 14 at the time of the incident, the likes of which, again, are never specified. We're told about Twy having erotic roleplays with Sophie, as well as the Google Doc with a bunch of screenshots. And it's important to note that the Google Doc does not have any screenshots of said roleplays, and only conversations that look to have been taken afterwards. There's messages that seem to suggest the idea that the roleplays were in voice chat, and given that the fake Twy character seems to like Sophie's voice, that further supports the theory. This was likely done as the fabricator of the screenshots felt uncomfortable staging a roleplay, and it would likely hurt the believability of the story. After repeating a few screenshots that were shown in Wamo's video, we're shown a curious screenshot of the fake Twy character mentioning 𝘰𝘰𝘮𝘶 and Banshee, and how he chose Sophie over Banshee. 𝘰𝘰𝘮𝘶 and Banshee are real people, and there was an inside joke some months ago that we were going to kidnap Banshee and send him to Twy, since Banshee is a fellow Twilight lover. It's also important to note that Banshee is well into his 20s, and that he has no recollection of the character Sophie. We're then showed a community post from Twy's YouTube channel where he leaves a suggestive print of Twilight Sparkle beside a magazine. The print is one of many he has hanging on the walls of his bedroom, and he put the print there to take a snapshot, then returned home with it. Although this is pretty funny for a shitpost, 𝘤𝘰𝘮𝘦𝘶𝘦 𝘠𝑰 tries to pass this off without context as evidence that he sexualizes children. We're also shown a DM between Twy and 𝘤𝘰𝘮𝘦, where Twy explains the picture, defending himself, but his explanation is ignored. If you don't believe Twilight took the photo home with him, here's a recording of his room from 2 months ago, where you can see the same print hanging on the wall.
This recording is also included in his latest upload about how to trigger the entire TF2 community.
This claim comes off as hysterical to me because this out-of-context shitpost is meant to be the biggest piece of evidence.
That's the big evidence against the guy.
Again, we're told that he changed his legal name to Sparkles, although if 𝘤𝘰𝘮𝘦𝘶 did any more research than sitting and half listening to Wamo's video, he would have seen that he changed it to Twilight.
For the sake of protecting other people in our community, I feel like it is my duty.
Shut the fuck up! This entire thing is done for all of you to get attention. Nothing is lining up, the images are one person messaging himself over Discord. And then you go and have to say it's your duty to put people like this in their place. It's my duty to shut you the fuck up.
After making some very misleading opinions about justice and doing what's right, he ends the video. Next, I'll be showing you how easy it is to fake a Discord DM. I'll be making it obvious it's fake because this is just meant as a demonstration, and I don't want people to take a screenshot from this video and present it as evidence that Wamo is a pedophile. The important thing we need to take away from this video is that no matter what type of grudge you hold against someone, they are people, and no person deserves to have their life ruined from a setup. Breaking the law to dox Twy was not the way to handle something like this. Proper care needs to be taken when analyzing a claim as big as this. Discord screenshots are not reliable proof, and influencers like Wamo should be shunned for spreading misinformation that could potentially lead to legal trouble. This wasn't just a joke on the internet. This is the result of a person or people conspiring to break the law because they don't like someone. Wamo and all other parties should be held accountable for mess-ups like these. And it upsets me that the community is too worried about throwing cheaters into a bonfire to care about the actual crimes that are happening amongst themselves. The lack of self-awareness and mob mentality the community has is concerning, and I fear that one of these days they might actually end up framing someone or even physically assaulting someone over cheating in a game. The pain from cheaters is temporary, but the pain from being jailed from framing is permanent. In the first screenshot of the video, I mentioned how 42's closing messages were of note. He mentions they were friends sorta because Twilight cut ties with him after he noticed he only wanted information. His actual time in contact with 42 was relatively short. Hello, I'm 𝘲𝘰𝘮𝘬, and I hope you've enjoyed my video. I don't plan to make content like this in the future, though it's only a matter of time before someone attempts to make an exposed video on me for defending someone 90% of the TF2 community believes is a pedophile. If you wish to speak directly to me, feel free to join my Discord community at discord.me/𝘲𝘰𝘮. I encourage you to subscribe to see my latest projects, and thanks to all who have made it this far. I hope you enjoy your day, and don't stop vibing.
Today we expose a TF2 child predator. This is just disgusting. We need to get these people out of the TF2 community ASAP. Not only do they hurt TF2, but they also ruin lives. Well said, Wamo. The man who's trying to ruin some poor guy's life over some spite over the internet.